Magic, holy, lightning, and fire. Long ago, the four elemental damage types lived together in harmony. But then the Elden Beast attacked. Okay, Avatar bit done. Boy howdy, there sure are a lot of elemental damage types in Elden Ring, if you consider 4 a lot. But which one is the strongest? It's not like this game is meant to be a 40+ hour experience and different elements would be better at different things. No, one has to be the best. To find out, I didn't do a single run for this week. I did 4, and each can only deal one type of damage from its element type. No status effects, no other damage types. To watch these runs live, follow me on Twitch. We are so close to doing chat versus Bloodborne. Join my Patreon if you want to give me money. It's the best place to do that. And make sure you're subscribed. You're probably watching this in a binge. Just take a second, check and see if you're subscribed. It helps us out a lot. Speaking of things that need help, let's start with the problem child. I bet you were expecting holy, but no, lightning was definitively the worst stat for any of these runs. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll be giving each run an hour at a time, and with each run getting an extra half hour at the first bit. There's just a lot of running around, and I didn't want my Twitch chat to just watch us cowabunga, go to Limgrave, get a crafting kit, and a horse, over and over again. At least, not in such rapid succession. Our lightning run is actually starting off a little weird, making an immediate sprint to the Weeping Peninsula. We grab a sacred tear, then fall down the graves to get the lightning strike. Additional rule, we can damage dung beetles with non-elemental damage because otherwise lightning just loses immediately. It can't play the game. The only pure lightning damage options at the start of the game are either inside beetles or inside knights, and it's much easier to get inside a knight if we've already got some lightning. Nearby we can get the faith tier, which is also super important for this run since lightning strike, the spell we got, requires 28 faith to cast. Confessor starts off with 14. That's less than 28. Since we're in the Weeping Peninsula, we also get 2 sacred tears right away. Okay, now it's running around Lernia time, and after getting the 2 fingers in a hole, everything is going to be the standard get to Altus routing. On the way, we died jumping off the bridge wrong. While we are doing this, let's talk about positive and negative expectations. Positive first, lightning isn't super commonly resisted, and the bosses that do resist it are really weak to AoEs. Second, big AoEs, maybe the best AoE in the game with Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. And third, any boss on the water is going to get harder since lightning damage spreads out on the water. It's pretty cool. For weaknesses, I guess it seems like fighting the Lindell Knight for the first bunch of lightning spells might be annoying. He's one of the few enemies that resists lightning in a major way, and the lightning boosting seal is locked behind the Royal Capital, meaning the Draconic Tree Sentinel, another one of the few enemies that resist lightning damage. I promise that wasn't a bit when I said most enemies don't resist it. It's just a weird, unfortunate coincidence that we have to kill 2 of them to get good lightning stuff. And final negative, which will segue back into the commentary nicely, we can't cast our first spell without the faith boosting physic tier, which we need the physic flask from the Third Church of Marika to get. Now imagine lightning in Fort Height. Call it Fort Heightening. We grab the first Dectus medallion piece and head to the Dragon Barrow for the other half. The Memory Stone from Lenny's Rise might help if we cast a lot of different spells later, but we kinda won't. This is a pick one good spell and spam it type thing. I ran past the Knight's Cavalry and it hit me, but then I ran past it again and oh no, it fell. Oh no. That's not my fault. I guess we have the faith we need now though. Fort Faroth has the other Dectus piece I need, and then I GTFO out of there. Before tackling the Lindell Knight, I want a stronger seal. Let's dip into the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel. One of the miners kills themselves on the way down, so we couldn't control that, can't control that, can't control the Knight's Cavalry. Lightning Strike shoots over gaps, which is pretty cool. Didn't like how slow it was, but going over gaps is cool until I realized that every ranged spell can go over gaps, because they're ranged. So not that cool, actually. The Crystallion is baby food easy. It does resist lightning by 90% until you break its stance. New problem I didn't anticipate. Lightning doesn't do any stance damage, or if it does really low stance damage. Pretty sure this hasn't happened yet, but we lost to the Crystallion. God, this element is terrible.
No! What? Sorry, force of habit. Lisa, no!
Instead of just getting the bell bearing, we have to run around Lernia for stones. While it is slow, it's just slow. Cutting that out, let's show the Margit fight. He'll give us another pocket we can use to scale up our damage in some way, and it's a great place to demonstrate the Lightning Strike spell. It sucks. The spell's really slow. And the damage? not even that great. And sometimes he just threads the needle between the bolts. There's a gap between the bolts. It happens more than you'd think. You can chain cast it after a charge, and the following casts get the charge boost too, but we run out of magic pretty fast. And we can fall off the arena, and Margit is too aggressive, and after a few failed attempts of getting the rhythm down, we managed to squeak out the win. But yeah, that was rough. We can get the Smithing Stone 4s we need by dipping into the sealed tunnel for the Bell Bearing 2 and even get a Smithing Stone 5 on the way out. The current plan is to max out the seal and just kill things before they notice how slow our spells are. Then we cross Altus to get another Sacred Tier and open up the Windham Catacombs to die to a Lindell Knight, as it hits us with lightning climbing a ladder. Glad to see lightning kills someone. Just here for the Lightning Scorpion Charm to deal 12% more lightning damage at the cost of damage resistance. Hey, it's not like we can die more, especially not to Gilka. She's easy. Ow, ow, ow. And with that, Vor, the first hour of our lightning is over. We've died 10 times and only killed 2 bosses. And also, do not have the other lightning spells yet.
It's okay, Rocky. You go when you feel like it.
And now for something completely different.
Here come the hot stepper. I'm the lyrical gangster.
Fire gets started, and let's talk about its strengths and weaknesses. Strengths. First, putrid avatars are weak to it. That might sound kind of specific, but the putrid avatar in Caelid gives you a tier for 20% more fire damage, and the one in the Dragon Barrow drops 91,000 runes, which turns into 141,000 with rune buffs, which is pretty great for getting started. Endgame, Radagon and the Elden Beast have 0 fire resistance. The Elden Beast is helped out a little bit with the water on the ground, but it's still low. And finally, the Black Flame. Black Flame ticks away between 2 and 3% of an enemy's HP when it hits. It's not a status effect. It can't be resisted. That means every boss dies in, at most, 50 hits. For negatives,
Weakness. None?
I couldn't think of a weakness. Even the Fire Giant, the Fireman, takes 50 hits. Less actually, since he rips his own leg off, and his fire resistance is actually only 40. He's not the boss that resists fire damage the most. You might be wondering why we would start as a Confessor instead of a Prophet, since the Prophet has Catch Flame right away. Honestly, I just like the drip more. And we can buy Catch Flame right away anyway. Still want some free runes? I think there's some around this knight's cavalry. Oh no, he fell! Not my fault. He killed us once too, that wasn't nice. If we want to get the pickles, I realize we have to kill Yura before he can join us for Nerd Juice. We find him under the arch and throw fire at him until he dies, but he's good at dodging thrown fire. So is Nerd Juice, but it's also fine, even though he's on the water. Oh, hey, that's a weakness. Some bosses are on water and resist fire a little bit because of that. There's some water in the Patches room. He dies anyway, and now we can make some real money. The damage could be better and will get better when we upgrade the seal. Fort Faroth for the Dectus Medallion, we get out alive to imagine fire damage in Fort Height. Fort Fart. Then book it to Lernia, hit the warp, die to platforming again, I'll never get good at this, hit Smaragd with a fireball, and realize the damage is too bad, so we're just not doing it. Rob the key, warp again, and drop into the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel to show off another reason fire is superior to lightning. Catch Flame has stance pressure, not like a ton, but maybe somewhere around a straight sword. So we can actually beat the Crystallion for a Bell Bearing 1. With both pieces of the Dectus key, we can head up to Altus and into the sealed tunnel for the Bell Bearing 2 for a nice +6 seal. We need some money though. The Putrid Avatar in Caelid is super weak to fire, so it takes about a minute to kill. Look at that, we've already killed twice as many bosses as lightning so far. That gives us a decent chunk of runes, but more importantly the flame boosting tier for 20% more fire damage. This Clean Rot Knight is weak to fire, thank god there's only one of them. Wait. First attempt, we got rotted. Yeah, that kinda sucks. Oh, hey, we kinda forgot to equip the tier. Trying again, yeah, the Spear Gal gets roasted quickly so we can trade with the Sickle. We get a great trade value, so you know this game won't stop. That's 30% more runes with the Golden Scarab Talisman. We've killed one Putrid Avatar, let's go kill Putrid Avatar 2. And get stupid over level. I talked about this already, but yeah, 141,000 runes at this point is pretty huge. If we killed Margit, Godric, Red Wolf, Renala, and the Draconic Tree Sentinel to get into Lindell, still wouldn't have as many runes as we would for roasting this one tree, just for a point of reference. But speaking of killing Margit, yeah, he's toast. Took about a minute. Fire be hot. We could make it hotter though, just roast Gostock and go up the safe path of Stormvale anyway. Why do I always get stuck with the icky jobs? Swag jump down, grab the Godskin Prayer Book, and seal. Shoot. It's probably the seal I should be using since it boosts the damage of Godskin spells. Turns out though, if you put it in the offhand, you still get the boost. Very funny. We grab Fingers from the Hole, and participate in Capitalism to get the Black Flame spell. Godric time, and we can show off that percentile damage. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Takes a little over a minute, and that's the first section of Fire done. 8 bosses and 3 deaths, 4 times as many bosses as Lightning, less than half the deaths. But believe it or not, there is an element that does a little bit better at the beginning. You just gotta believe.
Do you believe in magic? Hamburgers that talk?
Standard stuff to start the magic run, but we mix it up and land a nice jump into Caelid for the Meteorite Staff. This staff is huge, and let me explain why. It already has S scaling with intelligence. It can't be upgraded, but it doesn't need to be. It outpaces every staff in the game until they're like +5 minimum with somber staffs, including the freaking loose stat staff. So all the upgrade pathings that the other runs have to do, this one kind of gets to skip. Huge plus. Spell variety is also good, kind of. There's a lot of magic only spells, but we only need like 3, maybe 4. For negatives, nothing in the game is weak to magic. Most things don't resist it a ton, except Renala at 80%. It honestly makes her more of a problem than like Moog. More on that in a bit. For now, imagine being magic in Fortite. Fort Magicite. Then we go to the Dragon Barrow and die to the Knight's Cavalry. It just loves this goddamn notch lately. 2 deaths actually, then it dies and we have some early money. We needed to buy spells from the Carian spellbook and oh hey, is this another pickle? Jotting that one down. To actually learn the Carian spells, we have to beat Pumpkinhead, but he won't stop lowering his head. It's actually a bit of a problem. We make it out alive and hand off the spellbook to Selen, so she starts selling us some sorceries, like the god tier legendary magical blender, Carian Slicer. There's another good spell in the town of Horsery. We hip hop through the Millicent Tower, then the Night Comet Tower. That's an invisible spell, which gets boosted by this, the Staff of Loss. Like the God Slaying Steel, we can put it in our offhand and still get the boost. Into Lernia, we finally get the speedrun jump without dying. Missing that death is literally what makes this better than the fire run. Just 1 less death. But that means we still need to hit 6 more bosses, so warp through to Bellum and blend up that Erdtree avatar. Ha ha ha, Carian Slicer go brrrr. Our second Dectus piece comes from Fort Faroth, and of course we do, all the other stuff too. Altus time. Gilka gets deleted by the Carian Slicer. Now we have 10% more damage at full health. I picked up the Jellyfish Shield, which can boost our damage further if I ever remember to invest in strength. More importantly, we get the intelligence tier for 10 more intelligence. Big brain mean big damage. But our strategy against Margit is elementary. I guess all of these elements are elementary. Carian Slicer, brrr! Then it's Gostok's Tender Heart in the blender. Watch us spin around Godric to a beautiful oblivion. Rendezvous, now we're through with those 2. I scoop up a swagger for later, then it's time for Raya Lucaria. The dogs give me some trouble. First the dogs by the elevator, then the big dog upstairs. Trading with the red dog is actually kind of fine. He has like no health, and our damage is already bonkers. The Ratigan icon is upstairs, making us a faster caster to blast through the ass of the Clean Rot last before we smash the Clean Rot to trash. 30% more runes for every boss going forward, but that's 8 bosses and 2 deaths, 1 death better than fire. And if you think things are getting better, just wait till you see the first hour of Holy. Oh, Holy. How do we talk about Holy? The final bosses of the game resisted by 80%. Bosses leading up to that have 40% resistance. That sucks. The only Holy damaging spells you can get before the Royal Capital are the Discus of Light and the Wrath of Gold, the first of which is Doggy Doo, the second of which requires 32 Faith, and is also Doggy Doo. But this build actually has a different solution. Rather than using spells, we're gonna use weapons. In the Round Table Hold, downstairs we can get the Cypher Pata before Marluxia cuts us in half with his scythe. It's one of the 2 weapons in the game that deals raw elemental damage, so we're gonna put that to good use. As for baiting the Knight's Cavalry, of course, though it baited us first.
So that's what that feels like.
Needing a lot of faith early means no vigor, kind of a bummer. We patch things up with 2 fingers in a hole since that'll give us 5 faith. 2 fingers in the holy is a big help. Lernia warp and we fall off the bridge again. Maybe I should just stop going for this. Smaragd kills us because the Cypher Pata are too stumpy and they're not leveled up yet. So let's fix that in the Raya Lucaria Crystal Tunnel. There's 2s, 3s, and 1 Somber Stone in here, and we kill the Crystallion. Damage isn't great, but it's the Crystallion. You'd have to be a real piece of crap to fail the Crystallion. Leveling it up with EG means we're ready to take on Margit, who has 40% holy resistance. Really starting off kind of mean, huh? Without vigor and a very stumpy set of pita bread, we just sort of get dunked on really hard. The pita bread weapon art isn't bad, but it does have better stance pressure than the literal beams of light the rest of the weapon has. Also, urgent heal? Not very urgent. Kinda garbage. So that's not working, and maybe we just need some more damage. In Lernia, we can fight an Erdtree avatar for the holy boosting tier. The Erdtree avatar also resists holy. It's not like this is a common boss that shows up a lot, is it? Getting squished sucks, but after 3 deaths we get it. Now imagine being holy in Fortnite. Fortnite. There we get the Dectus Medallion 1, then the other one from Fort Faroth before getting ratted. Heading into Caelid, we beat down Anastia for the Holy Scorpion Talisman, boosting our damage by 12%, but lowering our damage resistance as well. Kind of a bummer we have to use it, but Holy needs all the help it can get. Back in Altus, we died to Gilka, but eventually come back and kill her for the Ritual Sword Talisman, which is a 10% damage buff, but only at full health. So there are requirements, and it's less of a buff, but there's less of a punishment than the Scorpion. We can level up a bit with the Tibia Mariner in Altus. It's weak to Holy damage, and worth quite a bit of runes at this point in the game. With more health and damage, Margit goes much better on our next attempt. Still, the pita bread sucks. Let's get something else. Outside the Sainted Hero's grave in Altus, a Black Knife Assassin is blocking the door. We use that door and just sort of push her into it with the unblockable blade. It works great until we run out of magic, then it gets us down. Next attempt, we corner it again, then manage to get enough hits off for the win, rewarding us with the Black Knife. Now, the knife part does physical damage, but the weapon art is purely holy. If we ever end up hitting a boss with the physical part, we're going to count it as a death and exit the boss arena to reset. Hopefully that doesn't end up happening. Our end for Holy ends with an errand to level up the Black Knife and set ourselves up to go through the abandoned cave next time. 14 deaths and 7 bosses, putting it in 3rd place in terms of the Donkey Kong ratio. Magic is first, fire is second, and lightning is still our little problem child. Let's go back and see how she's doing. Back at it again with lightning, and we kill Gilka our first try.
Wait a minute.
On our first try, I said. Now we're properly saucy for the random Lindell Knight in Lernia and the other lightning spells. Now, do you think the Lightning Knight resists lightning? Take your time, I bet you can guess. As a Lindell Knight, it might seem weird that he's in Lernia. After all, Lindell Knights are much more comfortable living inside my ass. They're super aggressive and we can barely back up and cast enough to get the win. Then we go to the Dog Pope to beg for forgiveness because we're trying to do a lightning only run. As a religious leader, he reminds us that the road to heaven isn't free. If we want more spells, he's got to get paid. I wanted to kill this Erdtree avatar anyway. It gives us the lightning boost physic tier. It's the same one we killed with Holy and Magic. This was better than Holy, worse than Magic. Just slower than Magic. We didn't die. Lightning Spear acquired. It's a faster spell with better accuracy and pretty much the same damage as the Lightning Strike. That should make Nerd Juice easier. He's on the water, so RIP. Patches isn't on the water, but his shield doesn't block out the lightning, so RIP to you too. We can make money faster with the Golden Scarab, but get rotted our first time trying to use the Lightning Strike spell against the Clean Rot Knights. I thought it would be faster. Using the spear is better. It's just a better spell. Then Gostok gets murdered. We run through the danger path and get to Godric. Now it's time to spam those spears until phase 2. Then we use the strike a bit, but this is kind of where I figured out that the spear is just better, unless you're fighting like a big crowd or something. Maybe we should just level up. Lightning spells should be good against dragons per FromSoft logic, but Grail kills us the first time, and the second time we run out of magic and have to bail. So instead, let's get better talismans. Raya Lucaria and the Red Wolf of Radagon. It doesn't have a lot of health, and our damage is actually pretty good. Well, we couldn't kill Grail, so never mind. I think the Red Wolf just kind of sucks. Do you know what happens to a dog that gets struck by lightning?
The same thing that happens to everything else.
Radagon icon acquired. Faster casting time. I have no confidence in our ability to take on Renala, so I have an idea. Technically, you can get a plus 20 seal before getting to Lindell, so we're gonna do that. Smithing Stone 5s in the Altus Tunnel, and then in the Celia Crystal Tunnel, more Smithing Stone 5s. At the end, we fight the Falling Star Beast, which will give us 5 Smithing Stone 7s. I thought this was the one that gave you 6s, but that one is an Altus, and we run out of time on the way there. 7 bosses this hour, only 2 deaths. That's looking pretty good. But overall, 9 and 12 on the Donkey Kong ratio. Back to the Golden Boy.
I think you're better than me.
I am better than you.
Let's start off with Godefroy to get the charge boosting talisman. The Black Flame is a charge spell. It doesn't boost the percentile damage by 15% because, well, that would be bonkers, but it does boost the raw damage up top. Back up and cast. Riveting gameplay. I see why you all love casters. Raya Lucaria time, Red Wolf probably takes less damage from the Black Flame than the Lightning. While the percentage damage is nice, it does kind of deal less raw damage. I think. I don't know, didn't look into it. I'm playing 4 games at the same time, kinda busy this week. Renala shows off why I think the damage might not be great, and we find the first issue with the Black Flame strategy. Bosses who have multiple health bars. 50 hits to kill a boss isn't that bad, especially when it's guaranteed, and always a little bit less because of the raw damage. But if you have to kill 3 kids just to damage Renala, and Renala takes 3 cycles to get to phase 2, meaning 9 kids and 9 casts, that's not great. The Bloodhound Knight she summons gets us our first attempt. Second attempt we run out of magic, and it gets us again. Guess we need to get better. Grail goes much better with the fire build. It's an endgame boss you can fight right away, so it has a lot of health that goes away from the percentile damage. Hey, what if I did a highest runes to lowest runes run? Maybe next week? Stick around. More runes are good, we level up. I forgot to grab the Radigan icon earlier, kind of a silly goose move, not as silly as spending 4 minutes to grab the intelligence tier instead of the faith tier. The faith tier is in the Weeping Peninsula. Whoops. Gilka dies. Ritual Sword Talisman, it's pretty great. Now let's go back to our second Shard Bearer. Moongrim actually falls and dies on the way. That's pretty funny. Our extra damage pays off with a 2 cycle for phase 1, which means that we have enough magic for phase 2. After the dogs, and the dragon, and the giant, and the Bloodhound Knight.
And him, and her, and the baby too.
Too many cooks, more like too many Black Flames cooked Renala. Hey, with percentile damage, you know who we could kill? The Bad Dragon in Kaled. We're able to melt it down with 50 balls. I think it's less, but I can't actually count that high. Draconic Tree Sentinel is gatekeeping the capital. He's 40% resistant to fire damage, but hey.
We don't care.
Now we're in the city. We burn down the Erdtree Avatar and end our hour with 6 bosses and 2 deaths. That's actually worse than lightning for this hour, but not overall, at 14 and 4. Speaking of better things, magic time again.
The Ultimedia M57 SLC. It slices, it dices, it splices your multimedia data.
I feel the need to burr. First, we burr Nerd Juice. Forgot to kill Yura first, but it's fine. Nerd Juice died fast enough before Yura got there. Then we burr Patches. Then we go burr Grail for some extra runes. Believe it or not, this is actually where we start struggling. There isn't a great second Shard Bearer for us to get with magic, except one guy. But I need more intelligence before we do that. So Putrid Avatar, also burr. But what if I want the burr to go faster? For that, we need some combo boosts, which for some reason work with this spell, but not spells like the Nut. Don't know why? Ask the devs. O'Neill first, I guess his ghostly soldiers first. We almost kill him before he summons the second batch, but alas, we have to turn more ghosts into Ghost Chiffonade. It goes great in salads. Say hi to Gowry, then Millicent, then go to the Shaded Castle for the Valkyrie prosthesis. For some reason, the aggro range of every goddamn creature in the castle stops us from warping out. Whatever. Give it to Millie, fight the Godskin Apostle at the windmill. Is he here because he thinks he's a windmill? He spins that peeler enough. But what is a garlic peeler compared to a Carian blender? He dies. Then we blend Millicent. It's not nice, but it is fast. The Millicent prosthesis boosts our dex by 5, but it also boosts our combo damage. It's a really, really good talisman for this run. To kill the next Shard Bearer, we need to get a spell from Gelmnir. Mr. Azur gives us his wacky Omega Laser. There's a demi-human queen next to him that drops a memory stone, so I might as well kill her. After killing her extra wizards, of course. Gotta flex on Selen that we have the Azur spell, but she says some dude named Lustat has a cooler spell. Let's steal that from him. I forgot to get the key from her first though, so yeah, that kind of sucks. Wasted time. Every run is gonna have its own silly goose moves that hurt the time, so it balances out. Then we get the Stars of Ruin, probably the best ranged option you can have to use mid-fight. It deals pure magic damage. After all these buffs, I figured we might as well try Renala, but I was right. We're not gonna deal enough damage to get through phase 2, so I just kinda quit out. We're gonna need to do the different guy. That guy needs another spell from the Academy Crystal Cave with the Crystallians as a boss. Oh, the Carian Slicer does like no stance damage, I think. Oh, never mind. It's gonna take a while. Upstairs, we get Terra Magica, a spell that boosts the damage of your magic by 35% if you stand in a small area. Last thing we have to do this hour is talk to Vari to set up our next kill. 8 bosses, 0 deaths for 16 and 2 total. Number 1 again, but maybe Holy will catch up. I get the swagger to avoid being rotted in the abandoned cave, but after we roast the Spear Knight with the Black Knife, we got rotted anyway. Doesn't matter, we win, now we'll get paid more. Kostok and the Danger Path provide no danger, neither does Godric. The Black Knife is very good, but we did run out of magic. Gotta remember to get more blue flasks later. We can finish him off with the Peta. Silly Goose Death here, forgot to kill Yura before going for Nerd Juice, so I had to let him kill me to make sure Yura wouldn't get a hit in. Yura dies first, then Nerd Juice and Patches. He's actually able to heal since the Black Blade takes a while to wind up, but yeah, yeah, not that big of a deal. Let's celebrate our new golden scarab and golden pickles by grabbing every bit of runes we can grab. First, the sleepy dragon with the massive power of the black blade and its melty properties. Then Grail, who gets hit in the face. Very cool. But janking up to a tree is not cool. And then leaving the bridge in general, that's worse. Fighting him on the bridge makes it almost like a rail shooter. When he has more room to get around, the fight is less free. I was trying to get the putrid avatar before our pickle ran out, but it resists wholly, so we just lost it. Look, you can see the pickle go away right before the kill. Just a bummer. After a brief detour to go get some pickles, we had to ride Lucaria, but the Ratigan icon doesn't really matter to us. We're not using spells with this run. Funnily enough though, the build that doesn't use spells does the best at the spell school. We can snipe everyone on the way in, melt down the red wolf. Hell, I'd beam the poop out of Moongrim and just head right to Renala. Doesn't matter if we're low on magic, since I can just use the Pita in round 1. Phase 2 is for beams. We get it first try, simple and clean. Actually, the clean comes later, just simple for now. The Draconic Tree Sentinel does not like our beams and smacks us out of the sky. Not a huge problem, since better spacing on the next attempt makes it go smooth as butter. Now, one of our problem children is in the royal capital faster than magic, which is doing the best. Killed 8 bosses, died 3 times. I know you only saw 2, but yeah, there's 3. Gotta spread those silly goose moves around. At the end of hour 2, magic is technically in first as far as bosses and deaths go. Fire is in second, holy is in third, and lightning is in last. Dead last. But if you're just going with game completion, it would be fire, then holy, then magic, then lightning. Lightning is last either way. Poor lightning.
Rêves des amoureux sont comme le bon vin.
We start with fire for hour 3. I want to see exactly how far we can get with the black flame. The Lexus Shade is our first boss. We just gotta step back and throw stuff. Same to the Black Knife Assassin, but we jump on the bed first. I used to get in trouble jumping on the bed, but now I do it all the time. And nobody will stop me. Not even Morgoth. Though he actually does give us a little heat with the Blood Flame stab and grab. It catches us. Don't get stabbed, don't get grabbed. Pro tip. Next time we got caught in the Sword Rain, then comboed out of it. But believe it or not, the solution to win is to walk backwards, then throw Black Flame.
Daring today, aren't we?
Look, it's the Forbidden Lands. They're gone. I'm heading to the mountaintops of the Giants for the Smithing Stone Bell Bearing 3, and we can burn down the Erdtree Avatar duo to get the runes to level it up. Fire Giant is our next mandatory boss, but I'm kind of worried about how that could go solo, so let's go low. You might wonder why we haven't fought the Lingering Will, considering he's my favorite boss. Well, I like fighting him because you can summon a ton of people, and it really feels like an epic D&D party fight. Today, we can't summon anyone, since they would deal damage that isn't fire. Black Flame is good though, and Radon is pretty weak to fire. Also, we're really over leveled now, so we take him out, and then a bunch of people show up.
Who are you people?
Things get hotter when we enter Will's hole and fight the Mimic tier. He dodges the fire pretty good with that NPC AI, but not good enough. Nocron next, we get the Mimic tier. Now that means that there are 2 of us. But to level it up, we have to do the Aqua Quest. Into Caria Manor, fight Loretta. She's on the water, but hey,
We don't care.
say hi to Aqua, get the Finger Slayer Blade, head to the Incel Rivermain, kill the Estelle Jr. for some reason, say hi to Phalanx Demon's Holes, get the last Gloveworts, and max out the Mimic tier. Lots of errands for this hour, so we only took out 6 bosses and died twice. Back to the bad times.
It's cold down, the heart is cut.
Remember, we need the Smithing Stone 6s, but we already fought a Falling Star Beast, so I don't want to spend too much time here. We beat this Falling Star Beast. For now, we have to go up Gelmir and bait a bear into hitting the statue. Thanks, Brother Bear. Can't wait for a Brother Bear level in Kingdom Hearts 4. We're really close to getting Golden Vow and have the faith to cast it, so let's head down there. Anastia and 2 dogs is a little too much for us to handle with our slow spells. Got the Golden Vow spell though, that's nice. What a thrill it is climbing these ladders, but not as thrilling as a fully grown Falling Star Beast. It has more health than the other 2, more damage than the other 2, and more having a phase 2 than the other 2. Goes pretty bad. We get blasted by the gravity laser. Maybe we need to come back with more damage. And thus begins grinding against Godefroy. Why does Godefroy take so long? I'm not really sure. I guess even though our casting seal is at plus 17 at this point, the damage is still not great. So yeah, we ran out of damage and I had to warp out. Same thing happened again. We apparently need the damage boost from both the Lightning Scorpion and Ritual Sword Talisman, which means if we want extra runes, we have to hot swap in the Golden Scarab at the end. That's annoying. 15% more damage with charged attacks, which all of the lightning spells are, so it's slightly better. Wish I had another pocket, but I can't get one without killing a second Shard Bearer, and we'll show that problem in a second. For now, die to the Falling Star Beast because we forgot to change our flasks. So close though. Honestly, the damage isn't much better. We died again. Remember that Death Laser? I actually love the Death Laser. It's one of the easiest moves to punish. We can get 3 spears off. The phase transition is also a great punish window. It takes a while, but we get it. And with some Smithing Stone 7s in the the Dragon Barrel, we now have a plus 19 casting seal. Should make Renala pretty free. We kill Moongrim on the way in at plus 19. How's that damage?
That's it?
It's a 3 cycle for phase 1, and we die in phase 2, even though she's on water. So Grail, I guess? We got roasted again. Died for the 6th time this hour, with only 3 bosses killed. Lightning's gonna have to really pick it up to be good later, or magic has to fall off. I don't really see that happening. We ended Magic's last session by trying to do the Vari quest, so let's die to the Beastman before coming back to burr him properly when he falls off the little ledge. Tell Vari the good news, tell Arena the good news, and bippity boppity boo, we're in Mohgwyn Palace. There's actually a puzzle piece we need to kill Mohg, the infinite magic tier from Mount Gelmir. Climb the ladders again with darkness and silence through the night, and fight the snake treater. But die the first time. It's twisty and weird, and I have to be close to use the Carian Slicer. Not the best combo. I do want some more intelligence, so maybe we can Carian Slicer the Grey Old Dragon. Not enough magic sauce. This was a huge waste of time. Weirdly enough, we can nuke the Tree Sentinel, even though we don't have 2 Shard Bearers dead. It's important for us to be close enough though, otherwise he gets smacked to death. The extra damage from Terra Magica gave me an idea though, since the damage boost on Terra Magica is so big and the casting time of Carian Slicer is so fast, using some focus to put down the Magica mat would help us do more damage to the bad dragon. It works. We also got naked for better stamina recovery. To find out more, Google getting naked with bad dragon on your work computer. Alright, Mohg time. Unleash the laser! I guess the meteorite staff doesn't have enough sauce, so let's get saucier. The saucier staff is in Celia, say that 10 times fast. We have to beat the Nox duo, who are just like basic enemies. They gave a boss health bar too. It's fine. The Lustat staff has the highest intelligence scaling of the game, but costs way more magic per cast. That's fine, we have an infinite magic tier. It's still worse than the meteorite staff until you level it up though, so let's grind. We Omega Laser Executus right in the nuts, but it's actually not enough to kill, so we have to actively use Comet Azur mid-fight. Kind of awkward to reload. More Somber Stones, a 5 in the Altus Tunnel and a 6 by the Wolf on Gelmir. But then I went into Volcano Manor, which has a 5 and 6, right on the way to the Noble. Silly goose moves, left and right, gamers. Godskin Noble doesn't want us to Azur, so I died, and that's the end of the hour. We kind of just got lost, trying to find a way to get through. 4 bosses, 5 deaths, the first negative Donkey Kong ratio. Even Holy is gonna do better, and that's Holy. It's about time I got something to clean up the rest of that run. We're in the royal capital and it's time to farm for the bubble horn. To make the time pass faster, I like counting with Pokemon. But we die a Charmeleon, ruining our silver pickle. Kind of a bummer. We have to go to Lernia for more silver pickles, but our luck turns around because the horn drops at Squirtle. Number 7 for you non-Poke fans out there. Makes up for how bad our farming luck was on the Jack Black run. Leveling it up starts with EG, then we head to the Volcano Manor via the Raya quest. Say hi to Snake, wash Boggart's iron balls. Remember gamers, wash your balls if you have them. Give Raya the necklace and warp to the hothouse. Here's the 6 and 5 I mentioned earlier, by the way. The Godskin Noble's kind of rough. He's got a big hitbox, and even though the bubbles can kind of tickle his sides during the rollout is the rollout. You can say, oh, just lock him behind the column, but sometimes he just says no. The Black Blade ends up being better, but that rollout do be rolling out. 3 deaths, but we get it. Then we get through the fog door, fall down some cages for the Somberstone 7, and get the 9 and the 8 from the Dragon Barrel for a +9 horn. At this point, I'm pretty sure we can handle Lingering Will. Let's just test our damage on Executus for toots and grins. How's that damage looking?
Nice.
Again, we can't summon any friends for Will. I guess they forgot about us. Haha, Kingdom Hearts joke. The toots are pretty strong though. So strong, we one-cycle Radon. Obviously he's weak to bubbles. He's 99% rot at this point. Gotta clean up that dirty boy. Now we'll go wash his hole in a second, but first Carian Manor. Loretta can't handle our toots. Then we say hi to Aqua and take our second person into Radon's hole. How many people can we fit in here? Mimic Tear gets washed, grab another Somber Stone, realize we don't have a Stone Sword key for Roxas, come back to pick him up, and bubble the ball so we can warp out at the end of the hour. If you take one thing away from this video, it shouldn't be which element is best in Elden Ring. It should be to wash your balls. We killed 5 bosses and died 4 times, so technically better than magic for this section. Lightning is the worst, fire is the best. Overall, fire just pulled ahead of magic at 20 bosses to 6 deaths, while magic is at 20 to 7, holy is at 20 to 21, and lightning is at 12 to 18. 8 bosses behind everyone else. That's an oof.
I want to set the world on fire.
Fire is in the mountaintops of the giants. Hope you like running. We ignore Realis and pick up the ancient dragon smithing stone, then head into the fire giant. You might think we're ill-equipped, but fire giant isn't even that resistant to fire. 50% is a lot, but since each of our balls does 2% of his max HP, it's pretty much fine. It weirdly makes phase 2 better, since the damage we deal hitting the thigh isn't that much worse than the damage we deal to the weaker points. First try win. For Amazula is crumbling. Oh no, but the Godskin duo make our dreams crumble. That's even worse. They just really decide to go maximum baloney, and we don't have Bernie to help us out because his hammer deals some physical damage. So when the Mimic dies, we just kind of get chased around while we try to make it work. Also, turns out we kind of need the Mimic to be alive long enough to deal some damage or we run out of magic. It's pretty annoying. Okay, also here, I'm safe on the pillar. It's rolling out. It's stuck, but no, it just decides to have the rollout be the rollout. Boo. The win comes from a bullying of the chunky, then a skinny, then another skinny while it summons a chunky. Our black flame is hotter than theirs. That gives us the bell bearing we need to max out our seal. We crush the swag jump and rock the bird run with no issue. The Draconic 3 Sentinel gives us a headache as it usually does. First try, but was pretty close. The second try is the big win. Medium win, pretty crappy win. It's not even a boss and we died to it. The next 3 bosses don't kill us though. Guy on a horse, big problem. Malekith, Keeper of the Rune of Death and Shadow of Marika, no problem. Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing? I think you know that's easy. Horaloo, Chieftain of the Badlands, more like Chieftain of D's nuts, roasting on an open fire. Okay, so Radagon and the Elden Beast should be narrated more, but like, remember at the beginning how I said they didn't have fire resistance? And they have a bunch of HP, so it's a pretty non-eventful fight. Look, they're called God-slaying incantations. This shouldn't be a surprise. 6 bosses and 5 deaths, but also our first build to finish the game. Everyone else has 1 hour. They better pick it up. Okay, Holy is finishing the Ronnie quest. We're in the Incel Rivermain. Toot the Astel Jr. For some reason, it's fast. Say hi to Phalanx Demon's Holes to get an extra Somber Stone 7 and 6, and the last Gloveworts we need to max out the Mimic. We tie, meaning we die at the same time the Erdtree Avatar does, then grab the Ritual Shield Talisman to offset the extra damage we're taking from the Scorpion Talisman. If you have a Scorpion in your pocket, you're gonna take some damage. I wanted to premiere Roxas in the Godfrey Shade fight, but I forgot to buy the bell to call him. It's fine, tooting's still good. Roxas makes his premiere against Morgoth. Honestly, he's not all that great. I have to summon him with only the Pita equipped. If I have the Bubble Hammer equipped, he might use it as a hammer. That means every time we summon him, we've got a hot swap after he joins. Still more help than harm, since he's got a lot of HP and distracts the bosses so we can get the bubbles out to wash Morgoth. He's really dirty. Forbidden Lands, no time to talk about that. We're in the mountaintops of the giants. We toot Borealis since it's really easy, takes less than a minute. Fire Giant is no match for us getting horny on his toes, though he actually finishes off before we finish him off the first time. Second try, we make sure to be a little safer while we're being horny and get between his legs to give him a good scrubbing. Remember gamers, wash those balls. Holy actually does better against the Godskin duo. We just toot a chunky, then a skinny, then a chunky, then a skinny. I'm not trying to rush through this. I mean, I kind of am because this is a really long video, but since we're limiting every run to only one type of damage, there's generally one exploit that's just gonna kinda carry them. The bird run is complete. We even have a Somber Stone 10, but because the Forbidden Goddang Lands take so long, that's it for the hour. 5 bosses, 2 deaths. Let's see if magic has figured its shit out. Magic is fighting the Godskin Noble, and yeah, it's not doing great. We died 3 more times, but the Stars of Ruin end up being very helpful. Lots of damage, and we can back up and cast like the rest of the cowards. Upstairs, we can squeeze through the fog door to get a Somber Stone 7, then a 9 and an 8 from the Dragon Barrow. For the 10, we go to Mogwin. It's right outside of Mog's house. Being sneaky doesn't work here. We need to use the invisibility sorcery to kill all the frogs, but that means we don't have any magic for the Sanguine Noble. Still, mission success. We've got a maxed out Lustat staff, and that's enough for us to nuke Mog.
You forgot the pickle!
Oh god. No big deal. It's basically just throwing 150,000 runes in the toilet. That one hurts. Well, now I'm gonna farm the pickles we need before going into the royal capital. Erdtree Avatar, not an issue. Godfrey, not an issue. Black Knife Assassin, not an issue. And you're goddamn right, Morgoth is also not an issue. Mog was a dam holding back the floodgates that are the rest of this run. Now we're as strong as a coursing river, with the strength of a great big guy. Forbidden Lands, skip, wait, ow, Actually, wait, let's fight the Black Blade Kindred to make up for the runes we lost by not pickling on Moog. I hate fighting this dude, but hey, our damage is bananas. We might as well give it a try. It goes fine. Maybe we'll fight some more gargoyles later. We do ignore Alice. His Ice Roar would be a pain in the butt with the melee slicer. Fire Giant is surprisingly hard to burr. He's feeling really rolly today. Must be hanging out with the Godskin Noble. Such a bad influence. In phase 2, hitting the thigh is fine. We build our combo enough to compensate for the overall lower damage and get the win first try. Oh, I just realized the next boss is the Godskin Noble and I don't want to do that alone. So let's fight Radon. We can't summon, but we can burr, and Radon is weak to blenders because he can take damage. All creatures who can take damage can be burred. So 7 bosses for this hour, 4 deaths. If we're doing just bosses and deaths, it's actually 1 boss ahead of Fire. Neat. Fire beat the game though. Hey, maybe Lightning will finally make it into the royal capital.
You got no fear of the underdog. That's why you will not survive.
Grail dies first try.
Wait a minute.
What's been my favorite runs of Hard Vigor?
First try! While the pickle was still active, I tried the Black Blade, but it's not magic. Not gonna happen. Maybe we can get some more runes from Exicus, but he just kept janking up on the hills, making me run around, and then I got super rotted. Gosh dang it. Renala is gonna be too hard, so let's kill her kid instead. Radon is also hard. Did you know Radon hits really hard? Yeah, that's a problem. We died twice, but just being more careful while backing up and throwing our spears, that'll get us to phase 2, which should be worse, but ends up being way smoother. How? We take those. Let's get a clone. Now we've got 3 builds in Radon's hole. I just hope he's enjoying it. The Lightning Strike is actually better against the Mimic tier since he dodges the spear, but not the AoE. That lets us get our ashes, buff it to +4 so it can help with Loretta. 2 lightning casters on a lake, it goes great for us. Talk to Ronnie and the gang, then get the Glove Ward 10, go to the Incel River main, say hi to Phalanx, Demon's Holes, and have the camera cut out. It's fine, you've already seen this like 3 times. Here's the Tree Sentinel. Mimic tier's maxed out. He resists lightning, but that's why I brought a friend. 2 fully charged up lightning casters are able to keep the pressure up and finally open up the path to the royal capital at the end of the hour. Bummer. 5 bosses, only 1 death though. It's almost where everyone else was an hour ago. Almost. In terms of bosses, Magic is ahead, 27. Then Fire, 26. Holy with 25. And Lightning is in last with 17. Progress-wise, Fire's done, so I guess it wins the race if that's what you care about. Holy doesn't have much further to go though. Should be pretty great in endgame.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Okay, we're close to the endgame, but we have to go through the Tree Sentinel. He doesn't like letting me toot though, so we die the first time. Next try is free. Now it's Malekith, who has 80% holy resistance in both phases. I thought it was only 40, but I looked it up while writing the script, and yep, it's 80. So I don't feel too bad about 3 deaths, especially since we have to hot swap out the Bubble Horn every time to make sure that the Mimic doesn't use it. If you're wondering why this is worse than the Jack Black run, it's because in the Jack Black run, we can use the horn as a hammer. This time, we can't. So bosses that totally resist holy damage like Malekith, huge problem. The jumping is also a big problem, but 4th try we're able to get enough bubbles to wash this dirty dog. Gideon is easy. He's very rarely hard, but here he even lowers his own holy resistance. What a joke. Godfrey gets our goat once, but only once. Tooting is pretty effective, gamers, and we only have 1 more mandatory boss. We go activate Godric's Great Rune for 5 more in every stat. Radagon has 80% holy resistance, and this sucks.
I don't want to be around anymore.
Hot swapping is also pretty terrible. Okay, let's go get some free runes to feel better. Placidusax is a bad dragon that's really dirty. That means giving him a bubble bath is totally safe. Google bad dragon, bath safe on your work computer to find out more. We get killed and lose a rune arc getting the Somberstone 9 bell bearing. I just want to level stuff up so the Mimic can get a little bit more done with the PETA. Lord's Divine Fortification helps, but it only lasts for 70 seconds and keeps off 60% of the holy damage. It does nothing for the physical damage of Radagon's hammer. Wish we could use our hammer. We made it to the Elden Beast and our stance pressure is good, but the damage, even with the bubbles on that big body, is severely lacking. One attempt I tried to just use the PETA since they're fast. That helps us last longer, but is that even better, or do we just waste more time before dying? The Black Blade ends up working the best against Radagon, but we get hit by the baloney hitbox on the insta-kill attack from the Elden Beast. We had that, but the hour's up. 10 deaths and only 4 bosses. Maybe Magic can do better in its weird route. Should be a good time. Oh god, we were just getting the Mimic tier. That's not great. The Mimic boss is easy as always, then we go get the actual Spirit Ash, but I don't want to do the Ronnie quest. It's long, coarse, and gets everywhere on the map. Instead, we'll just bum rush the Valiant Gargoyles. We've beaten a harder gargoyle, so we should be able to kill the first one before the second one comes out. Not quite that smooth, but it's basically that smooth. That gives us access to the Deeproot Depths and the Incel River main from there, so we can grab the Somberstone Bell Bearing from Phalanx Demon Souls. We have to slash some balls for the Ghost 10. Remember, gamers, always slash— oh wait, no, don't slash your balls. Get the Glovewort warp out and max that Mimic. From Azula goes just fine. The Godskin duo, it's not like they're gonna be hard just because we struggled with the Noble. Now we have a Mimic tier. Just take out the Chunky, then the Skinny, then the Chunky again. Free win. Swag Jump, Bird Run, Azur the 3 Sentinel, and fight Malekith. We mix it up here with some Stars of Ruin, some Carian Slicer. Getting a combo with the Carian Slicer also boosts the damage of the Stars of Ruin, even if the Stars of Ruin doesn't build a combo. So that's even better. It's great. It's really great. We Azur Gideon to death. It's free. Godfrey isn't totally free, but he basically is. I just made a silly goose move the first time. Second try is always easier since he hangs back and just lets you get all your buffs up. Slice up close, stars when fars. Radagon gets sliced up, but I'm most excited by the Elden Beast. I bet we can build a massive combo at the start and really tear through it, but it's fine. I just really thought it was going to be better. I guess we don't have the Thorny tier or the Winged Sword. Still a win, but we could have won harder. Well, wait, what if we were able to make Magic clear all remembrances before Lightning finishes the game? That would win pretty hard. So Renala first, which means Moongrim, I guess, but like, come on, dude, you really should have taken a sick day. With the Mimic tier and a stronger Slicer, we can do much better damage to Renala. Not much better, but it's a 2 cycle for phase 1 instead of a 3 cycle. Phase 2, she summons a dragon, but this fight won't be dragging on any longer. We get the win and trade her boss soul for the Big Mommy Mooners. Hitting enemies with it lowers their magic resistance by 10%, as if we needed more damage. Last thing we do this hour is pop into the castle's hole and nuke Nile. 9 bosses, 1 death. Holy needs another hour, so this will get another hour, and I really think it could finish off the rest of the bosses. I mean, Lightning's gonna need like 6 more hours. It's so bad, but it will get better.
Will you do the fandango? Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening.
Oh god, we just got to the royal capital. This is hell. We are in hell. I kill the Erdtree avatar, then head to fight the Lindell Knight that has the Gravelstone seal, which will boost our lightning damage by 10%. If this archer would stop shooting us. What is your range? It shoots us so far back that the dogs start attacking us. I drag him into the fortified manor to fight. We barely lose that fight because we kind of get Capra Demoned, but at least I have a better plan for next time. Just bait the dude in the manor right away and shock him up before a dog can come in. Godfrey Shade is weak to lightning though. Finally, an easy boss, takes less than a minute. We throw some lightning at the Black Knife Assassin from atop the bed, then buy the Great Heal from Korn. Since we have such a great seal, we deserve a great heal. I didn't know if the Dookie Water in phase 2 of Morgott would boost the lightning damage. Looks like it does though, because that damage is pretty nice. For Biden Lands, total malarkey area, Mountaintops of the Giants, and the Dragon Smithing Stone we need to max out the seal later. The Fire Giant goes fine with the Lightning Spear. Our damage is pretty good now. Is the Gravel Seal doing that much of a difference? Dang. Burn down the Erdtree and make our way to some good freaking spells in Faram Azula with the Ancient Dragon Prayer Book. It is over for these fools. By good spells, I do only mean one good spell, the Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. Muriel sells them to us, remember, no free rides to heaven, and now we try the Godskin duo. The Mimic died, and I just kinda don't want to run away for 10 minutes only to die, so I quit out. Try again. The rollout sure does be rolling out today. Then we get on a column, and the column is the happy place to be, because the Ancient Dragon Lightning Spear does so much damage. Like, frankly, it seems like an incorrect amount of damage. The upgrade is so massive. We win, but did Skinny get the memo?
My death was greatly exaggerated.
Swag Jump, do the Bird Run, fight the Draconic 3 Sentinel. He's resistant to lightning and kinda doesn't let us wind up. So, we run out of magic and time. Killed 4 bosses, died 3 times. But with our new spell, I feel really good about hour 6. Really good. So, what's Fire doing? We start by lighting a bunch of fires, pretty on brand. It's to fight the most pointless of remembrances, the Regal Ancestor Spirit. Don't know how it's connected to the lore, it's just a big moose. Tries to run away a lot, but we chase it down and burn it down. Next, let's activate Radahn's Great Rune. Remember, we're gonna go for another hour after this, so might as well. And our stats are as high as we need them to be. 15% more HP, focus, and stamina is actually better for once. Astel, the Hefty Naturals of the Void, will be our next remembrance through the Lake of Rock, and there we go. Mimic gets grabbed. Come on, dude, don't get grabbed. We avoid the meteors, and melt it down. Don't really feel like doing Rykard yet, so let's open up the consecrated snowfield. That means opening up the castle's hole first, then opening up Niall's hole. Sadly, Niall's twin sword friend gets our hole the first time, but after a bit of adjustment, we turn the tides and get the first Talent Tree piece. Second piece is in Lernia, but we have to kill an old man for it. Hey, there we are, consecrated snowfield. The putrid avatar here is easy and gives a bunch of runes. That's the only reason we kill it. To get to Mogwin, we have to kill a penguin noble, or at least that's the fastest way. He's an ice type, so even though the snow cloak gives him more evasion in the hail, we get enough hits. Moog resists fire, but black flame exists, so hey, we don't care. Maybe I should have gotten to the physic tier for the phase transition, since it just sort of melts us. Even worse, it melts the mimic. We don't have enough magic to kill him solo, so I quit out and we start over. I also swapped in the damage reduction tier and the stance pressure tier, so maybe we get a stance break in phase 1. We do. We also got melted in the phase transition again, but it doesn't matter. We don't care. We burn the 80% fire resistance boss to death. Oh, there's another 80% fire resistance boss? Rykard? He has 2 health bars? That'll be fine. But after doing Raya's quest, for some reason, she is not at the deck to lift to give us a quick teleport to Volcano Manor. I know we don't need her to get to Volcano Manor, but we're running low on time this hour. So, Placiduous Axe instead. Black Flame is really good. His HP bar is huge, but phase 2 sucks so bad. The teleporting is annoying. There aren't really windows to get an actual punish off. Kind of a problem with a lot of the later bosses. But I think Placiduous Axe is tied only with solo Godskin duo for amount of baloney. You can even summon for Placiduous Axe and get stuck with baloney, so I think this is worse. First try win still, but it was annoying. Raya's at the Dectus lift now. I guess killing Placiduous Axe is what moves her here. Someone update the wiki. 6 bosses, 1 death in the victory lap. Hopefully we only have 1 more victory lap and Lightning and Holy get their shit together. Right now, Magic is number 1, 36 bosses, 12 deaths. Fire has 32 bosses, 12 deaths. Holy has 29 bosses and 33 deaths. And Lightning has 21 bosses and 22 deaths. But maybe in the last hour, we can get a positive Donkey Kong ratio.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants, putting suckers in fear.
I know that intro was pretty hopeful, but we do die to the 3 Sentinel. Here's an idea.
Well, screw that.
Let's just run around it and go right for Malekith. As long as we kill him the first try, it shouldn't be a problem. And the lightning strike, yeah, it's pretty goddamn good. Takes a bit over a minute for the whole fight. I was kind of worried it wouldn't be as good against Gideon since he's got a tiny body, and this spell does better against bosses with a hardy waistline. But if I write a second sentence for this boss fight, you'll have the opportunity to watch the entire fight, because it just takes a strike and 2 spears. Super easy. Godfrey kills us the first time. First time you fight him, he starts all up in your grill. It's understandable. Second try, he hangs back a little bit and the lightning strike destroys him. We're running through these bosses so fast, I'm feeling confident to skip the rune arc for Radagon.
Not a great plan.
Yeah, he swats us. But next attempt, we get to the Elden Beast so fast, and the lightning strike was basically made to kill this god. It hangs out on water, its body is massive, so that HP bar just disappears and boom, we killed God. Keep in mind, 15 minutes ago, we were dying to the 3 Sentinel, and we killed 4 bosses in 15 minutes. Endgame bosses. So let's start heading for all remembrances, right? Get some pickles, though sometimes the birds just dance through the lightning storm without getting wet. Now we kill some bosses in rapid succession. Regal Cinema Spirit, blasted. The Valiant Gargoyles, they're on water, destroyed. Chat was saying Placiduous Axe resists lightning damage.
But I don't know about that.
I looked it up after and it's 40% resistance, same as the other elements. You'd think the big lightning dragon would resist lightning more, but nah. His big body makes this the easiest Placiduous Axe fight of the bunch, and Holy used the bubbles. We've got to do the castle's hole to get into the field of snow, so let's just hit Niall and all his ghostly buddies with the lightning strike. It's super effective. Guess they're ghost flying or something? Maybe ghost water? I would have guessed electric ice, but this works. Haligtree number 1, kill an old man for part 2, and wahoo, here we are. The Penguin Noble is part flying type, even if penguins are flightless birds. So it's dead. Didn't get the Moog tier for Moog, but it's gonna be fine. I started with the spears until he started attacking my Mimic, then I can get behind him and switch to the strike. You don't have to worry about phase 2 if he doesn't get a phase 2. That's a big brain move. But wait, there's more. We cross the Lake of Rot and melt the Astel on the water. Since it's on the water, it can try and teleport, but this fight's only going one way. That's 10 bosses and 3 deaths, which is actually the most bosses any of these these runs has gotten in any amount of time, including the extra long first hour. Also worth noting, the bosses are Malekith, Godfrey, Radagon, Moog, Placidusax, Nile, and the Valiant Gargoyles, and Gideon in the Ancestor Spirit, but the rest of those bosses are hard. The only bosses this has left to go to get all remembrances are Fia's champions, Fortisax, Loretta, Melania, Rykard. If Holy fumbles the bag really hard, we could maybe do it in another hour. Speaking of,
It's all over.
you might think that we're gonna go for Radagon, but nah, I'm gonna power up. First, better flasks. Lightning has a weird saving grace that her route put us on the path for a bunch of sacred tears. Holy did not get that. Weeping Peninsula, 1, 2, 3. Then we talk to Alex and Kaled, then on Gelmnir, and then in for Amazula, so we can kill him for the Alexander Jarshark. That's 15% more damage from Ashes of War. We can get another 15% boost, but it's gonna require some running. First, Nile and the castle's hole get cleaned out with the bubbles. Remember gamers, clean out your castle's holes. We hit the consecrated snowfield and scrub a dub, a scrub for a dub with a Nastia, giving us another Somber Stone for better PETA on our Mimic. Ordina goes fine, 1 torch, 2 torch, 3 torch, 4 torches. And we're in the Halleck tree. I got killed getting the bubble hat, and I don't really care. We have a 70% boost from all of our talismans, physic tiers, and hats to the bubbles now. But yeah, Radagon still has 80% damage resistance and kills our Mimic. So let's get a better seal to make the healing better. And let's load up on Pepsi instead of Coke. Didn't remember I killed the Crystallians, so that was a big waste of time, but then I got the Bell Bearing 2 from Altus, the Bell Bearing 3 from the Mountaintops of the Giants, and we already had the 4 from killing the Godskin duo. We can get the runes we need by washing this putrid avatar. Not sure why I fought the Beast Clergyman for the Dragon Smithing Stone instead of just getting the one from the Mountaintops of the Giants. Went kinda rough. Again, 80% holy resistance. Thought it was 40 at the time, but we won. Okay, now we have a big heal, so the Mimic should keep himself alive, right?
Not really.
Okay, it's going fine until I break a rule. I was trying to swap in the PETA and attack Radagon, but I accidentally swung the hammer. Strike damage? I think I'm gonna be sick. We quit out. That's a death. Next attempt, I'm using the Blade of Death. It doesn't get boosted by our hat, but it still gets boosted by the Alexander Shard. And the Mimic heals up before the Elden Beast. That's nice. Our bubbles do much better this time. Much better than, terrible, but it works. After spending almost a full hour of setup, we finally beat the Elden Beast with our last build. There's a little time left, so I killed the Penguin Noble in case my masochism decides to make this all remembrances. 3 bosses and 4 deaths this hour for a total of 32 and 37. 1 more boss than Lightning, but 5 more deaths, meaning it ends up being worse. And if we did want to go all remembrances, we would have to kill Moog, Rykard, the Ancestor Spirit, Valiant Gargoyles, Fia's champions, Fortisax, Astel, Loretta, and Melania. That's probably going to be more than an hour, especially considering how stinking long the Fia quest is. I wonder if magic can get all remembrances in the next hour, or maybe fire. Only one way to find out.
Put my tender heart in a blender, watch it spin round to a beautiful oblivion.
First step is actually not going for remembrances, but jazzing up our combos even further. We kill an old man to get the Halleck Tree Medallion, then blend the Putrid Avatar for the Thorny Tear, which will boost our combo damage by 20%. That's almost double the Millicent Prosthesis, and stacking with it. Another 10% by beating the Cleanrot Knight in Lernia for the Winged Sword Insignia. You can't stack the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia and this one, you have to stack this one with the Millicent Prosthesis, or I guess if you're in New Game Plus, you can do the Rotten and the Millicent Prosthesis, but this is the best you can do in one cycle. We one-shot the devil 2 hours ago, so yeah, the Cleanrot Knight didn't stand a chance. We even stopped by the Divine Tower of Caelid for Radahn's Great Rune. The extra magic will mean more slicers before we need to drink the Pepsi, and the extra stamina will mean more slicers before we have to stop swinging. Then we go for Fia's champions, trying to get some Azurs off, but it doesn't really work. The blender is the superior move. This is when I realized that because we went to Noxtella through the Deeproot Depths, we didn't actually do the Ronnie quest, which means we don't have the Carian Study Hall statue, and thus can't get the Curse Mark of Death for Fia. It's still possible, just gonna take a long time. Loretta resists magic, but come on, no she doesn't. There are still faster bosses we can do, like Placidusax, so we show off the maximum blending power, and it doesn't go that great. Shoot, we died 3 times before finally managing the stinky teleport nonsense and getting our win. The Regal Ancestor Spirit is a joke, but it's one that's really long when you consider the setup. A long walk for a short drink of water. While we're here, we get the dagger for Ronnie, then flip the study hall and hug Fia a lot to open Fortisax. It's never a very clean fight, but I very rarely lose it. We always just get here when we trade better than they do. Our hour ends in the liturgical town with 3 bosses left: Rykard, Loretta, and Melania, if we want to do all remembrances. Kind of wild that it's only 2 bosses less than Lightning. 1 more hour of fire. Let's see if it can get all remembrances.
What a thrill.
We're in Volcano Manor, and the Godskin Noble is gonna be easy. I don't even get the shortcut. We did a harder version of you 2 hours ago. Rykard, on the other hand, sucks. If there's one boss that can ruin a Black Flame strat, it's Rykard. With 80% fire resistance, the Black Flame balls are basically only doing percentile damage. So it takes about 45 hits to get one phase done. And overall, about 90 since he's got 2 phases. If you lock on, it locks onto the head, which flops around like a loose hose. It's like trying to throw a baseball at a water wiggle. The best option is to unlock and free aim, but that's a pain in the ass. It makes it harder to get the read on the attacks he's gonna go for. Both us and the Mimic have the Erdtree heal equipped, but eventually we just run out of magic. Since the Mimic has unlimited magic, you would hope it could finish off Rykard, but he stands too close. The magma stops him from casting, including the healing spells, so eventually he does die. First time we have to quit out. Second time we actually die, but we did switch to all Pepsi. All healing will be spell healing. It's basically just as fast as the flasks with the Radigan icon. Third try, we're out of magic and the Mimic tier is just floundering. I guess we can put on the fire resistance talisman since it's not like any of the damage, but percentage damage is going to be helpful. For some reason, that was the ticket, but Rykard walled us out for almost 30 minutes and it took 5 minutes to get to him. All Remembrances is looking out of reach, especially when we have to get to the deep root depths. I chose the Valiant Gargoyles over Sewer Moog just so I don't have to run through the sewer, but also he has 80% fire resistance and for some reason, I don't want to do that again. Fia's champs are good at rolling away from our Black Flame baseballs, but not good enough. It helps to have 2 of us. Now we have to make Fia happy, so let's go to the Upside Down Study Hall. Black Flame looks cool on the elevator, that's fun. Get the Curse Mark of Death and hug her and quit out 3 times. I don't know why they can't just put all of her dialogue in one tree. We have to hug and quit, hug and quit, hug and quit. Portus Axe is another free aim boss since Miyazaki won't let us look at their toes. What a bummer. While we only have the Howling Tree bosses left, time is up. We light the torches in the liturgical town. Honestly, the conclusion to all Remembrances for Fire is not that much more cinematic. We get into the Howling Tree, kill the swag jump, and kill Loretta just as fast. She's not on water like she is in Carian Manor, so the resistances are even lower. After a bit of fun running through LFL, we make it to Melania. On water, she has 10% fire resistance. Off the water, it's 0. So yeah, just back up and throw fireballs. Phase 1 is done. Phase 2 opens up with the big flower, but while she's in the center, we can just pepper her down. There's even a stance break for another window of punishment. We only needed 20 more minutes to finish all Remembrances and get 39 bosses with no more deaths. Magic is next though, and it was pretty far ahead at hour 6. It would have to flop pretty hard to lose that spot.
Everybody do the flop!
Now, if you thought Rykard was rough for fire, here's how it goes with magic. The moon hits, but it's slow and doesn't actually do that much damage on its own. It's good because it makes the rest of the magic do more damage. First try, we run out of magic and quit. Attempt 2, we try to Comet Azur, but it uses too much magic and we die. Next, I try Loretta's bow and the Night Comet. The range is better on Loretta's bow, but the damage is pretty terrible. And the Night Comet doesn't have the range. There is a better version of the Loretta bow, but we have to kill the actual Loretta for that. Swag jump landed, and we're ready to fight Horse Girl. I was worried she'd have 80% magic resistance, but no, it's just 40, so, no big deal. That's quadruple the arrows, and we have to kill her to get to Melania later anyway. Since it's a charged spell, we kill Godfroy for the Godfrey icon to give us 15% more damage. Just walk forward and slash, he dies, no problem. With the big girl bow, our damage is good, our range is good, the stance pressure is good, but the casting time is bad. The magic cost of casting is also bad, we have to quit out again. Because I knew I would get people asking, I got everyone's favorite physics tier, the Crimson Whirl, which heals you as you take elemental damage for 15 seconds. I'm sure with 15 seconds, Carian Slicer can handle the 89,000 health Rykard has. It's 15 seconds. What? It didn't work? It actually goes fine for phase 1, but phase 2, his body's hurtbox is wrong. He's the biggest boss in the game, but his hitbox is smaller than fucking Pydia. Okay, so the Crimson Whirl was attempted. It sucks ass. I'm never using it again. Maybe you have fun using something that only lasts for 15 seconds, but I like to last a little bit longer. We'll get to that idea after we run through the Weeping Peninsula for 3 Sacred Tears. It'll make healing a little more useful in the fight. I'm really here for the Stone Sword keys though to get into the Spirit Caller Cave. At the bottom of the cave, we have a Godskin duo, but one at a time. Even though Chunky rolls out, we're good, and we get the Godskin Swaddling Cloth. That works like the combo talismans, but it heals on combos instead instead of adding more damage. It kind of works with the Slicer. It does work, but it takes more hits to count as a combo. 2 attempts like that, it goes better, but the Slicer just isn't an option for phase 2. Inubasilf in my chat gave me some good advice because, and I want to clarify here, I asked for advice. Pro tip for giving tips to streamers: until they ask for tips, don't give them a tip. I want to credit Inubasilf, but holy shit, a flood of 40 people constantly telling you what to do as you play a game is a nightmare when you didn't ask for it. Anyway, we're doing Stellan's quest. We steal her heart. Can't activate the body? Oh yeah, we gotta talk to Jaren, but the Misbegotten and the Crucible Knight are blocking the path. And after we kill them, he's not here? Oh, he's by Selen. Okay, new body. Who dis? Then we can help Selen fight Jaren in Raya Lucaria. I just spam moons. With her quest done, we buy the Shard Spiral, an absolute beast of a spell to destroy big-bodied bosses. Rykard's magma, though, is still an issue. By the time the spiral actually gets to him, it's probably 50% through its pathing. The Flame Skulls mess us up in phase 2 first attempt, so I quit out. Here's what you need to do. Full-on FaZe Clan 360 no-scope. For some reason, if you walk away as you're charging the cast, then do a 180 the other way without locking on, the spiral will actually keep moving in a straight line. Or straight spiraling line, I guess. That works, and we finally kill Rykard after an hour of theory crafting to get it done. But we're not quitting out after hours now. We're just gonna finish it off. It's Malenia time. We have the Mommy Mooner, the Carian Blender, and the Stars of Ruin. All of them are good and serve different purposes in the fight. The Mommy Mooner makes us deal more damage. Carian Blender is just the best damage and builds our damage with a combo. And Stars of Ruin applies damage and stance pressure from a distance. Didn't have enough magic though, so yeah, had to quit out and come back with more Pepsi. Everything comes together next time. Ruins, moons, and Slicers. Just melt her down. We technically didn't take a death to Malenia, technically. But Rykard slowed this way the hell down. We come in at 7 hours and 56 minutes, over an hour longer than Fire. At least it'll be better than Lightning. Unless Lightning can go really fast at the end. Fia summons her champions on the water.
Oh, honey.
And then we have to run around a lot. But we're doing this 4 times, so fast version. Study Hall, Curse Mark of Death, Hugs for Days, then Fortisax time. He has 80% lightning resistance, but he's on the water and his body is large. So if it ain't 100%,
we don't care.
We trade in his boss hole for the Fortisax Lightning Spear. It makes you jump a little, so that's my plan to deal with Rykard's
liquid hot magma.
Volcano Manor goes fine. We test Fortisax's damage against the Lightning Strike, and boy howdy, Lightning Strike is better. Still, for Rykard, I want to try a few things. Lightning Spear crosses the magma, great. If we have to, we'll use that. Fortisax Lightning kind of hops the magma, kind of doesn't, not really sure actually. We get poisoned heading into phase 2, and I tried a charged Lightning Strike to see if it would cross the magma. It does. The damage is way better. Okay kids, remember, just use the Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike. It's almost universally the best option. Now we gotta do Malenia. Liturgical Town done, Haligtree is safe, especially since we can snipe the Crystallian Snail and swag this jump. Loretta dodges the first Lightning Strike somehow, but she does not dodge the second one. Oof, maybe she shouldn't be carrying a literal lightning rod. We scoop up the Great Shield Talisman to not die when Malenia slashes the hell out of us. Speaking of, Waterfowl sounds like a water flying type. That means lightning should be good, and it is. She dodges the charged lightning spears, but doesn't dodge the speedy ones. Interesting. We bring her to the water where she's gonna take more damage, but it's a double-edged sword since that inspires her ducky dance. Not the water, the damage. It happens around 75%. Attempt 2, we unfortunately can't get her into the water, but yeah, that'll work too. Phase 2, we do get her on the water and can lightning strike her when she's distracted by the mimic. It's big damage and we get the win. Whoops, the video was already edited and I realized we didn't kill Renala, so here's that. We're a god now and she's on water in phase 2. RIP Renala. 7 hours and 11 minutes, so 40 minutes faster than Magic. But with only 37 bosses and 36 deaths, it might not actually beat Magic when we run it through our metrics. Holy is the only one left and it was at the bottom heading in. Will it get out of the bottom?
Not gonna happen! No, not gonna happen!
First thing I want to do is make the Mimic better with a great spell, so I died twice trying to get the Erd Tree seal. By the way, if you make guides for item locations in Elden Ring, but kill all the enemies before you do the run, you're my enemy. We're fighting. We need a Somberstone 4 for it though, and EG is out of them, so we have to kill the Crystallians to get the bell bearing. Somberstone 10 is in Mohgwyn Palace, just toot some frogs, then hey, Mohg is right here, and he's bad at avoiding my toots. I didn't get the Mohg tier, so we gotta chug 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 when he goes to phase 2, but phase 2 has wings. Wings are big, they get hit by toots. The spell I want is an LFL, and we have to go there anyway. Swag jump, toot Loretta, watch another terrible guide for finding the triple rings, just fall down twice. This video was 5 minutes long and snaked through every goddamn enemy in the area. You just have to fall down twice. I'm so smart. We get the grace, run through the waterfall, and oh god, I'm so stupid. Triple rings isn't an Erd Tree spell like I thought. It's a Golden Order spell, meaning it requires intelligence. Not only am I stupid for not realizing that, I am literally too stupid to cast it. I don't have the intelligence. Okay, so let's do easy bosses to feel smart. The Regal Ancestor Spirit literally takes a single toot. The Valiant Gargoyles gargle some bubbles. For Rykard, I take the PETA off, summoning the Mimic tier, so it's just gonna focus on healing. Instead, it runs into the magma and tries to punch Rykard to death with its bare fists, so we have to quit out and add a death since we did damage that wasn't holy.
You're dumb as bricks, ain't you? Woo!
Guess I have to give him the PETA or he will ruin everything. Toots are good on Rykard. His body is huge, so it doesn't even matter that they have to go over the magma. We boogie across the Lake of Rot and toot the Astel, head through the Dankroot Depths. Unblockable Blade as an Ash of War is really good at NPC fights, and Fierce Champions are all NPCs. That's fun. Then, Fortisax. Big body? That means big bubbly. I threw on heavy armor for getting that we were always hot swapping in the Horn. That puts us in heavy load. I beat a boss in heavy load. Neat. Only Melania left. We get the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman, buy some rune arcs, and head on in. The Mimic tier is terrible because the Cypher PETA is terrible, and I can't trust him with anything else. Our toots do fine, but Melania is pretty much treating the Mimic like her own personal juice box. We got to phase 2 first try, but with a dead Mimic, we can't get our toots off. Second try goes worse. The Waterfowl Dance heals 20% every time she uses it on the Mimic. Phase 2, Mimic's dead again, so we are too. I changed up the strategy and used the Blade of Death next time. It went better, but it really gave me a big There's a better holy spell the Mimic can cast, and it's even an Erd Tree spell. We have to tickle the dragon's toes and duplicate Malekith's remembrance to get the Black Blade spell. It's like the Blade of Death Ash of War, but it's not the Blade of Death Ash of War, so it stacks with the Blade of Death Ash of War. We still died in phase 2, but yeah, it melts Melania. I wish I had it for Radagon, that's honestly my bad. Next try, we just melt her. The Mimic is actually good and could have been the whole time. If by the whole time you understand, I mean after Malekith, so for like the last 3 mandatory bosses. 7 hours, 35 minutes, meaning Magic actually has the worst time. 44 deaths and 42 bosses though, so overall ranking, we rank by deaths per boss, deaths per minute, and bosses per minute. Fire wins as the #1 in boss time and deaths per boss. Magic still gets second since it just killed so many extra bosses. Lightning makes it into third, absolutely cleaning up an endgame, and Holy is last because FromSoft hates God. This was fun, but it's a lot of effort, so please like and subscribe, share with your friends, maybe if they said Magic was bad for some reason. Follow me on Twitch to watch these runs live. We find new ways to play Elden Ring all the time, and join my Patreon if you want to give me money. It's the best place to do it.